One player, one decision, and the entire WNBA could crumble overnight. Caitlin Clark holds more power right now than any athlete in women's basketball history. And what's wild? The league that should be protecting her, promoting her, celebrating her. They're the ones who pushed her to this point, because right now there's an offer on the table that could change everything. We're talking about money so big it makes WNBA salaries look like pocket change. We're talking about a league that's ready to treat Caitlin like the superstar she actually is, and we're talking about a choice that could literally end the WNBA as we know it. Here's what nobody's really talking about yet. While everyone's been focused on Unrivaled and the WNBA's messy contract negotiations, something way bigger has been brewing in the background. Saudi Arabia isn't just building another basketball league, they're building a women's basketball empire, and they've got the kind of money that makes billion-dollar TV deals look small. This isn't some startup league hoping to survive its first season. This is oil money. This is tech giant money. We're talking Google, Facebook, and Skype-level investors throwing their weight behind this thing. And the craziest part? They're not waiting around. They've already started signing WNBA players. Real contracts, real commitments. Players who are looking at their WNBA paychecks and realizing they've been getting played this whole time. The league is set to tip off in November 2026, 6 teams, 66 roster spots, and salaries that'll make your jaw hit the floor. But here's where it gets interesting for the WNBA. The Saudi League runs from November through April. The WNBA season, May through October. Technically, they don't overlap. Technically, a player could do both. But let's be real for a second. Who wants to play basketball year-round with zero break? That's how you destroy your body. That's how careers end early. NBA players get months off and they're still dealing with injuries. So if you're a WNBA player and someone offers you enough money to never work again after just 1 or 2 seasons, why would you keep grinding in the WNBA? Now let's talk about the money, because this is where things get absolutely wild. The average WNBA salary right now is around $76,000. The max contract, about $241,000. Sounds decent, right? Until you hear what the Saudi League is reportedly offering. We're hearing numbers like $1.5 million, $5 million, $10 million. And for the absolute biggest stars, $50 million. Yeah, you heard that right, $50 million. Even if that number's inflated, even if the real offers are half that, we're still talking about life-changing money that dwarfs anything the WNBA has ever offered. Think about someone like Paige Buecher, and over her first 4 years, she'll make less than $100,000 per season. That's barely enough to live comfortably in most cities. Now imagine someone walks up to her and says, hey, we'll give you $10 million for 1 season, $20 million for 2. What's she supposed to do? Turn that down out of loyalty to a league that doesn't even pay rookies a living wage? This isn't just about greed. This is about financial security. This is about never having to worry about money again after just a year or 2 of work. And here's the kicker. Some of these Saudi contracts are reportedly exclusive, meaning if you sign with them, you can't play in the WNBA anymore. You have to choose. It's either the league that's treated you like you don't matter, or the league that's ready to make you a millionaire. For a lot of players, that's not even a hard choice. But let's get to the heart of this whole situation. Let's talk about why Caitlin Clark might actually be considering this. Because if you've been paying attention at all over the past year, you know exactly why she'd have every reason to walk away from the WNBA and never look back. The league had a golden opportunity handed to them on a silver platter. Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA as the most hyped rookie in the history of women's basketball. She had millions of fans. She had mainstream media attention. She had brands lining up to work with her. She single-handedly brought eyes to the WNBA that the league had been begging for over decades. And how did the WNBA respond? They let her get beaten up on the court. They let veterans cheap shot her, flagrant foul her, talk trash about her in the media. They investigated her fans after the very first game of the season because the Indiana Fever destroyed the Chicago Sky so badly that certain players had to make up stories about what the fans supposedly said, stories that turned out to be completely false. The league's commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, barely defended Caitlin, barely acknowledged what she was bringing to the table. Instead of protecting their biggest star, instead of building the entire league around her the way the NBA did with players like Michael Jordan or LeBron James, they let jealousy and bitterness run wild. Players like Alyssa Thomas openly disrespected her. Social media was flooded with WNBA veterans acting like Caitlin didn't deserve the attention, and through it all, Caitlin kept her head down. She played the game, she tried to be humble, she even worked behind the scenes early in her rookie season to get other players paid bonuses because of all the extra revenue she was bringing in. She wanted to share the wealth, she wanted to lift everyone up, and what did she get in return? More hate, more cheap shots, more disrespect. Caitlin Clark grew up loving the WNBA. She idolized players like Maya Moore and Cheryl Miller. This was her dream league. But at some point, you have to wake up and realize when a dream isn't loving you back. At some point, you have to look around and ask yourself, why am I fighting so hard for people who don't appreciate me? and that's exactly where Caitlyn is right now. Now here's where the timing gets absolutely perfect for anyone thinking about jumping ship. The WNBA doesn't have a season in 2026, that's right, no games, no playoffs, nothing. Why? Because the league's collective bargaining agreement is up, and they're in the middle of messy negotiations. Players want more money. The league's trying to figure out how to make the financials work, and in the middle of all this chaos, there's no season. So what does that mean? It means players have a full year to explore other options without missing any WNBA games. Unrivaled, the 3-on-3 league started by Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier launches in early 2025. That'll keep players busy for a bit. But then what? The WNBA's on pause, and right as that's happening, the Saudi League tips off in November 2026. It's like the universe aligned perfectly for players to test the waters. Go play a season overseas, make a few million, see how it feels. And if the WNBA comes back in 2027 with the same garbage contracts and the same lack of respect, you've already got a backup plan that pays 10 times more. And don't think for a second that other players aren't already thinking about this. Reports are saying that multiple WNBA players have already signed contracts with the Saudi League. We don't know who yet, but the deals are done. These aren't rumors. These aren't maybes. These are signed contracts, which means when this league launches, some of the biggest names in women's basketball might not be wearing WNBA jerseys anymore. They'll be cashing checks that make their old salaries look like tip money. Here's another layer to this whole mess. Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, the founders of Unrivaled, are also negotiating on behalf of WNBA players for the new collective bargaining agreement. So they're trying to get better deals for everyone in the WNBA while also running a competing league. And now, on top of all that, there's a third league entering the picture with way more money than either of them. It's an absolute circus. Players are being pulled in 3 different directions, and the WNBA is sitting there acting like everything's fine. But let's imagine for a second what happens if Caitlin Clark actually leaves. Not just Caitlin, but let's say 5 or 6 of the league's biggest stars all sign with the Saudi League. What happens to the WNBA? Viewership crashes, nobody's tuning in to watch a watered-down product without the players they actually care about. Sponsors start pulling out. Why would brands invest in a league that just lost its most marketable athletes? Ticket sales drop. Arenas that were finally starting to fill up because of Caitlyn, empty again. The WNBA spent decades trying to build a fan base, and it took Caitlin Clark 1 season to bring in more viewers than the league had seen in years. If she leaves, those fans leave with her. And it's not just about Caitlyn, it's about what her decision represents. If the biggest star in women's basketball says the WNBA isn't worth it anymore, what does that tell everyone else? It tells young players coming up that the WNBA isn't the dream destination anymore. It tells international players that there are better options. It tells sponsors and investors that the league failed when it mattered most. One decision from one player and the entire foundation of the WNBA could crumble. Now here's the thing. Caitlyn's not just thinking about money. She's not that person. We know from everything she's done that she cares about the game, about the players, about growing women's basketball. But there's caring about something, and then there's letting that something destroy you. There's loyalty, and then there's being taken advantage of. Caitlyn tried to do the right thing. She tried to be a team player. She tried to help others succeed. And the league, the players, the establishment, they threw it back in her face. So now she's got a choice. Stay in the WNBA out of loyalty to a childhood dream, or go somewhere that'll actually treat her like the generational talent she is. Stay and keep getting disrespected, or leave and secure generational wealth for herself and her family. Stay and watch the same problems repeat year after year, or leave and send a message that players don't have to accept scraps anymore. And let's be clear about something. If Caitlyn leaves, she's not abandoning women's basketball. She'd still be playing at the highest level. She'd still be growing the game. The only difference is she'd be doing it in a league that actually values her, a league that pays her what she's worth, a league that doesn't allow veterans to target her without consequences. She wouldn't be hurting women's basketball by leaving the WNBA. She'd be proving that women's basketball is bigger than one league, that players have options, that the WNBA doesn't get to hold all the power anymore. The WNBA had one job: protect Caitlin Clark, promote Caitlin Clark, build around Caitlin Clark. They failed on all 3, and now they're about to learn a very expensive lesson about what happens when you take your biggest star for granted. Because if Caitlyn walks, if she signs that Saudi contract and decides the WNBA isn't worth her time anymore, the league won't recover. The fans she brought will follow her, the attention will follow her, the money will follow her. This isn't just about one player making a business decision. This is about a league that had everything handed to them and still managed to mess it up. The WNBA could have been riding the Caitlin Clark wave for the next decade. They could have built something special. Instead, they let jealousy, pride, and incompetence get in the way. and now they're staring down the barrel of a future where their biggest star might not even be in the league anymore. So, what's it going to be, Caitlin? Are you going to stick with the league that never stuck up for you? Or are you going to take the money, take the respect, and show the WNBA exactly what they lost? Because if you choose option 2, you won't just be changing your own life, you'll be changing the entire landscape of women's basketball forever. And honestly, after everything the WNBA put you through, they deserve every bit of it. The clock's ticking, the offers are on the table, and the WNBA's future is sitting in Caitlin Clark's hands. One decision, one choice, and everything changes.